Have you ever wondered how someone goes from washing dishes in a diner to becoming one of the most influential figures in the tech world, with a net worth in the billions? This isn't a movie script. It's the real-life story of Jensen Huang, the co-founder and CEO of NVIDIA. His journey is a masterclass in resilience, vision, and the power of believing in something when no one else does. So how did a kid from Taiwan, sent to a tough boarding school in rural America, end up leading the AI revolution? Stick around because this story is more incredible than you can imagine. Jensen Huang was born in Tainan, Taiwan, in 1963. His early childhood was pretty normal, but everything changed when he was just 9 years old. His parents, wanting a better future for their sons, made the difficult decision to send Jensen and his older brother to live with relatives in the United States. They ended up in rural Kentucky, at a place they thought was a prestigious prep school. The reality? It was a reform school for troubled teens. Imagine being a 9-year-old, barely speaking English, in a place where every kid had a pocket knife and tattoos were common. Instead of being scared, Jensen adapted. He later said his roommate, who was covered in stab wounds, taught him how to bench press. He even took on the job of cleaning the toilets for the entire dorm. It was a brutal environment, but it taught him an early, powerful lesson in toughness and resilience that would define his entire career. After a couple of years, his parents finally joined them in the US, and the family settled in Oregon. This is where Jensen's passion for technology really started to spark. He was a dedicated student and a nationally ranked table tennis player, showing an early flair for focus and competition. But his true calling was in electronics and computer science. He went on to study electrical engineering at Oregon State University, which is where he met his future wife, Lori. A fun fact, he promised her he'd be the CEO of a company by the time he was 30. He actually made it happen, co-founding NVIDIA on his 30th birthday. Talk about keeping a promise. After graduating from Oregon State, he continued his education, earning a master's degree in electrical engineering from Stanford University. This academic foundation was crucial, but his real education was about to begin in the fast-paced world of Silicon Valley. Before NVIDIA, Jensen cut his teeth at two major chip companies, LSI Logic and AMD. At LSI Logic, he quickly climbed the ranks, managing core parts of the business. At AMD, he was a microprocessor designer. These roles gave him a front-row seat to the booming world of semiconductors. He saw firsthand the immense potential of specialized chips, but he also saw a huge gap in the market. While CPUs, the central processing units, were great for general tasks, they struggled with the complex, parallel calculations needed for high-quality 3D graphics, which were just starting to become a big deal in video games. This was the late 80s and early 90s, the era of Doom and Wolfenstein 3D. Gamers wanted more realistic, immersive experiences, and the existing technology just couldn't keep up. Jensen had an idea, a vision for a new kind of processor dedicated solely to graphics. A graphics processing unit, or GPU. The year is 1993. Jensen is celebrating his 30th birthday at a Denny diner with two friends and fellow engineers Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preem. Over coffee and breakfast, they sketched out a plan on a napkin. Their goal was ambitious, almost crazy: to create a chip that could bring realistic, cinematic quality 3D graphics to personal computers. They pooled together $40,000 and NVIDIA was born. The name itself. NVIDIA comes from the Latin word invidia, meaning envy. They wanted to create products that would be the envy of the industry. Little did they know, they were about to build a company that would not only dominate gaming, but also power a global technological revolution. This humble beginning at a Denny's is now a legendary part of Silicon Valley folklore, a testament to the idea that world-changing companies can start from the simplest of conversations. But the early days were anything but easy. NVIDIA's first product, the NV1, was a commercial failure. The market wasn't quite ready, and their design choices didn't align with the emerging standards, particularly Microsoft's DirectX API. The company was on the brink of collapse. They had to lay off more than half their staff and were down to just 1 month of cash. This is where Jensen's resilience, forged in that Kentucky boarding school, kicked in. Most founders would have given up. Instead, Jensen and his team went back to the drawing board. They took a huge risk and bet everything on their next chip, the Riva 128. This time they embraced the industry standards and focused on raw performance. The gamble paid off spectacularly. The Riva 128 was a massive success, selling 1 million units in its first 4 months. It put NVIDIA on the map and saved the company from bankruptcy. This moment was pivotal. It taught Jensen a crucial lesson. Failure isn't the end, it's a chance to learn, pivot, and come back stronger. It also cemented his philosophy of betting big on a singular, focused vision. With the success of the Riva 128, NVIDIA was off to the races. In 1999, they went public and introduced the GeForce 256, which they marketed as the world's first GPU. This wasn't just a marketing term, it was a statement of intent. They were defining a new category of computing. The GeForce line of GPUs became the gold standard for PC gaming, constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible in terms of graphical realism and performance. For years, NVIDIA's primary market was gamers, a passionate and demanding audience that always wanted more power. This constant pressure to innovate for gamers inadvertently prepared NVIDIA for its next, even bigger act. You see, the same architecture that made GPUs so good at rendering millions of pixels in parallel for a video game turned out to be perfect for another kind of parallel processing: scientific computing and artificial intelligence. The big breakthrough came in 2006 with the launch of CUDA, a parallel computing platform and programming model. Before CUDA, programming a GPU was incredibly difficult, reserved for a small niche of specialists. CUDA changed everything. It opened up the immense parallel processing power of GPUs to millions of developers and researchers around the world. Suddenly, scientists could simulate complex molecular interactions. Financial analysts could model market risks at lightning speed, and AI researchers could train neural networks that were previously too computationally expensive. Jensen and NVIDIA had essentially given the world a new kind of supercomputer, accessible to anyone with a high-end graphics card. This wasn't just an evolution. It was a revolution. They had built a bridge from the world of gaming to the world of AI, and almost no one saw it coming. Jensen's vision was years ahead of its time. He wasn't just building graphics cards. He was building the engine for the future of computing. And then came the AI boom. Deep learning, a subset of AI that uses neural networks with many layers, began to show incredible results in areas like image recognition, natural language processing, and more. And what was the best hardware for training these massive neural networks? You guessed it, NVIDIA GPUs. The parallel architecture that was perfect for shading pixels was also perfect for the matrix multiplications at the heart of deep learning. Jensen had positioned his company, either through incredible foresight or a bit of luck, or likely both, right at the epicenter of the biggest tech wave since the internet. Companies like Google, Meta, and Microsoft started buying NVIDIA's data center GPUs by the thousands to power their AI research and services. The success of models like ChatGPT is directly built on the foundation of NVIDIA's hardware. What started as a company for gamers had become the essential pick-and-shovel provider in the AI gold rush. Today, Jensen Huang, the kid who once cleaned toilets at a reform school, is one of the wealthiest and most respected leaders in technology. His signature black leather jacket has become as iconic in Silicon Valley as Steve Jobs' turtleneck. He's known for his intense focus, his deep technical knowledge, and his relentless drive. He's still the CEO of the company he co-founded at a Denny's 30 years ago, a rare feat in the fast-changing tech industry. His story is a powerful reminder that success isn't about where you start. It's about having a clear vision, the courage to bet on it, and the grit to endure the failures along the way. From a boarding school in Kentucky to the pinnacle of the AI revolution, Jensen Huang didn't just build a company. He built the future.